Going on YouTube, Cloverbells here back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we're going to be releasing our July rentals for the regulationG format. So, new month, so that means ladder has reset, and with every new month we always like to put out new teams just to give people something else to try for the format, whether it just be to climb back into Master Ball, or maybe they want to use something for a tournament, or maybe they need some ideas for the World Championships, might I add. So without further ado, let's just go ahead straight into the rentals. And as always, we're going to go into the Pokepaste as well and, explain our spreads. So this way you know what things are calced for and how we built the teams. But yeah, so let's just go straight into the rentals. Rental number 1 features the return of the double Luna archetype, as I like to call it. So back in May, we made a Lunala squad with the physical Ursaluna route, and that was like a hard Trick Room team, and it was a very, very successful one. Now in July, we're going with a different direction with the double Luna archetype. This time we're gonna go both Trick Room and Tailwind mode, so it's basically a hyper offensive team, mixed with Trick Room, as I also like to call it. It's called Tail Room. But the idea here, you can see the Entei here, so basically you can, set second terrain and then have Lunala go for expanding force shenanigans, right? And then from there, you have the Tailwind route, so this way Lunala can outspeed the entire format, and the same thing go for the expanding force. Our Ursaluna is on the team as well, that not only can function in the Trick Room mode, but can also function in Tailwind, as reminiscent of Rajan Ball's team when he used Miraidon with the Ursaluna on a Tailwind team with Whimsicott. But same idea, we're meant to outspeed the Shadow Rider, which you're going to see in the EV spreads in just a moment, but you can do expanding force, hyper voice shenanigans, and hit things really, really hard. And then from there, we have the Iron Hands, which can also function as, a Trick Room sweeper, because again, it's a physical, strong Pokemon. You get Fake Out Pressure to set up your Trick Room if you want to go that direction. And then you have, Heavy Slam to snipe the occasional Flutter Mains and, other fairy types. But also, with Urshifu, you get some fighting coverage that can help you against the Terrapagos matchup. The Urshifu Rapid Strike here is Mystic Water, so it's going to do a ton of damage with Rain Dance from the Tornadus, but it's also a very slow one, and you're going to see that in the EV spreads in a second. But again, Surging Strikes, Close Combat, and then even the U-Turn tech that we have on it, so this way you can re-pivot out. I forsake the Aqua Jet here because, if you're going to have the Entei, you're not going to have too many chances to click Aqua Jet there. So I figured let's just go with U-Turn, let's pivot it out, and let's get something else in. But yeah, so this is the hyper offensive Tailwind mode with the Trick Room option here. So let's go ahead and take a look at our EV spreads, so this way you see how we calculate stuff. Alright, so here's the EV spreads here. Here's our pace. So basically the Lunala there, with the 180 special attack investment, that's hitting the bump in the modest nature. And again, if you're trying to play competitive Pokemon, and if you're trying to get better at EVing your Pokemon, you have to know what EV bumps are. So if you don't know what they are, feel free to comment in the video below asking what are EV bumps, and I will respond to you, because again, it's a very fundamental skill that every player needs to understand and how to create EVs for their Pokemon if you really want to get into competitive play. So comment what are EV bumps and I'll respond. But the rest of the investment here, 92 HP, again, that's optimized for Rillaboom Grassy Terrain recovery. And at the same time, the 36 special defense, that'll help you live the Dark Pulse from HE without needing to Terra, assuming you have your Shadow Shield activated. And then from there, just dumping the rest into, defense, make it super bulky on both ends, and have an equal number in both your defense stat and your special defense stat. The Entei also relatively standard, relaxed natured, max defense there, along with a bit of special defense there. Just, a super bulky Entei, that's all you really need out of it. The Tornadus here, the Calm Nature, 76 Spec Def. Again, just hitting that first benchmark in the Calm Nature, and then from there, 252 HP, 172 defense. That's calc for both Urshifus, not just the single strike, but also the rapid strike. You're able to live those until the tail, and then just a little bit of speed, tiny bit. You don't need that much speed investment here, so this way you can have full weather control, because if they're going for Sunny Day and you're going for Rain Dance, your weather is slower, so this way your weather gets to override their Tornadus weather if they have Sunny Day, if they decide to go that route. The Blood Moon Ursaluna, like we mentioned in the rental, timid max speed again, that's just meant to outspeed, the Calyrex, Shadow Rider under Tailwind, and then the rest just literally gets jumped into special attack. Nothing else needs to be said there. The Urshifu Rapid Strike, like I said, you can see that it's super slow. It's also relatively bulky, and there's only one speed difference between the Lunala and the Urshifu. So this way, you know who's going to go first. whether you have, Trick Room or not, but at least you know the interaction. You never want to speed tie your Pokemon in this sense. But the 132 HP, again, that's optimized for Rillaboom Grassy Terrain against your, if you do go against it. And then the 108 Special Defense, so I count this not just for like Psyshock Calyrexes, but more importantly, the Drain Kiss Calyrex Shadow Rider. That can survive, with this investment, you can survive a Terra Fairy Draining Kiss from a Calyrex Shadow Rider. Timid 252, no boost. Okay, so just be aware of that. And then from there, the Iron Hand, same thing. Adamant 156, that's just hitting the second benchmark. Max Special Defense, get the most value out of your Assault Vest with a tiny bit of speed just in case of the mirror matchup, because Iron Hands is on the rise, as of late, heading into July. All right, so you can see we have a couple Grass Terras again, so that means, under Trick Room, we can get around a Mungus. And then from there, Blood Moon or Saluna, a little bit more offense with the Terra type normal, more damage out of Blood Moon and Hyper Voice, and Tornadus the Steel type. Again, that's just for the Rock and the Ice weakness. So defensive Terra there. Same thing with the Indeedee, defensive Terra with Terra Water, able to redirect the Urshifu Rapid Strike. All right, so that's rental number 1. Let's keep moving and let's go into rental number 2. Rental number 2 features Miraidon screens this time around. So basically, Grimmsnarl is on the rise as we head into the month of July. It's not only just used with Kyogre thanks to, Shiliantang and Justin Tang, but it's also used elsewhere, especially with like Terapagos. And there are a few Miraidon screen teams running around as well. And I kind of like that idea, so I decided to make a rental out of it. And this is also inspired by Hoopu Metapod, who also used a Miraidon screens team to top cut and Day 2 NAIC. So thanks again to them for inspiring the squad. But basically, it's a typical Choice Specs Miraidon set. Grimmsnarl screens, again, just make the team super bulky. Thunder Wave speed control is relatively nice. Spirit Break, you get to reduce special attack damage, from something like a Calyrex, another Miraidon, and then just super effective fairy type attacks into dark types. Very, very good Pokemon, this time around, especially right now in July. Then you add the Chi-Yu Iron Bundle combination. So Chi-Yu obviously is going to make Miraidon hit relatively hard. We've seen this already from the previous Miraidon teams, where you can Terra Ground the Chi-Yu and go for Discharge and have the boost from Beast of Ruin and then do super big damage with all those multipliers adding into effect, right? And then this is a Covert Cloak Chi-Yu, so this way, potentially you don't have to click Protect, you don't have to waste the Terra Ghost option here. If they want to fake out your Chi-Yu, you'll be totally fine. You can go for Heat Waves and Overheats and Snarls, so that's also going to help you. But also in combination with the Iron Bundle, same thing here, Terra Ground, you can Discharge next to it, get speed control with the Icy Wind, Freeze Dry, very good against like other Urshifus, for example. And then Terra Blast, Terra Ground is also going to be good against, other fire types, something like Incineroar, for example. It's a neat tech to have there, right? And then at the same time, if other Pokemon, like maybe under a Raging Bolt or another Miraidon, want to click an Electric move into Iron Bundle, because you're weak to it, originally without the Terra, you can now go for Terra Ground and, click Freeze Dry and do super effective damage into those options. Iron Hands comes yet again on this team because, again, you're getting the boost from the terrain from Miraidon, might as well. And then, again, Fake Out Pressure, really strong. With a lot of setup that you have here, and then for gives you a Trick Room option to have, which we do have available. Again, Electric Siege Farigiraf here with Trick Room available, against the Tailwind stuff. Then you have Foul Play to do big damage against physical attackers, especially if they want to go for Swords Dance. Helping Hand Miraidon's going to do big damage. Helping Hand Chi-Yu is also going to do big damage. And then you have Psychic Noise stuff for something like an Amoonguss, for example, right? So, all in all, pretty cool team. When I was playing it, I won a lot of games, just by, low-key the MVP was the Covert Cloak Chi-Yu. So that was a nice addition there. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the paste and see how we did the EVs here. All right, so here's the paste here. So Miraidon, nothing special. Again, Timid 132 investment. That just allows you to outspeed the modest max speed Miraidon. So this way you can always outspeed them. And then if you get outsped, then you know that they're probably max speed Timid. So it's a good way to fish for information if you have this kind of spread. And I like it a lot. And then from there, you have a little bit of bulk to you, right? 106 HP, so that's not bad either. Combined with Grimmsnarl screens, it goes a long way. Speaking of Grimmsnarl here, again, careful in nature, 116 SpDef, hitting the benchmark there, literally just dumping the rest into HP and SpDef. with a little bit of speed, you know, just in case of the mirror matchup, maybe outspeed some other Incineroars that don't have speed investments. But really, that's all there is to it about a Grimmsnarl. It's basically the Sword and Shield Grimmsnarl set. Iron Bundle and Chi-Yu, 252, 252 stuff. Again, focus fast Iron Bundles, timid nature, of course. That's really all you need out of it. Chi-Yu, again, you know, I thought about making this a bulky Chi-Yu set, but I figured just max speed modest was always important. The question was whether I wanted to, you know, take that 252 special attack and invest more into HP, but I didn't really have a full need to it. I guess I could have done some damage calcs with the screens, but it wasn't really worth it. I feel like I still want the Chi to do like a ton of damage in the end. The Iron Hands is basically the same set as the previous team, and then Fergaf over here, 228 HP. Just in case people want to bring the Rillabooms and reset the terrain on Miraidon, you have optimal HP for that grassy terrain recovery. Literally, the bold 164 defense hits the bump, and then the remaining goes into special defense there. All right. You can see we have 4 Terra Grounds options here, right? So, you know, lots of targets that you can click Discharge next to if you want to, you know, use your Terra. But all in all, I did like the way the team functioned. I think Grimmsnarl is a great Pokemon right now. And the fact that you have screens to ruin a lot of damage calcs goes a long way. All right. So let's go ahead and go into rental number 3. Kyurem-White enters the cut and is rental number 3. So again, Kyurem-White is a Pokemon that we did a team building video around, and we chose version 1 of the squad just because I did like having the Trick Room version with it as opposed to the hyper offensive route. I think it just works relatively well, especially with Blood Moon Ursaluna. But again, shoutouts to Lovestar VGC for helping me make the rental because I ran out of space. So they were kind enough to make the squad for me. So basically, again, Kyurem-White this time around gets a nice little boost, you know, to defense thanks to the revamp to Snow in this generation. So that means Alolan Ninetales must come to a Kyurem-White team, and that's exactly what we're doing here. And you can see that the Ninetales has fake tiers, and there's a lot of Pokemon on this team that can really take advantage of the fake tier support from Ninetales. It's not just Kyurem, but again, just like Grimmsnarl screens, Alolan Ninetales setting up the Aurora Veil is going to be good for Kyurem and the rest of the team in general. Just having the option to not only just change weather against the Pelipper stuff and even Kyogre, but also to add some bulk to your team with the Aurora Veil is really, really good. Kyurem is already bulky enough as it is, but now you can see that we have the Assault Vest, we have the defense boost from Snow, and now we add screens to it, and now all of a sudden, Kyurem becomes very, very hard to remove. And with this set here, with Blizzard, Freeze Dry, Earth Power, and Fusion Flare, you have a lot of options to, you know, in terms of moves to click into a lot of the meta, right? So Fusion Flare, really good option, you know, a Fire type move that you can click against other Ice types like a Calyrex-Ice Rider. You have Earth Power against another Fire type, against something like an Incineroar. And then Freeze Dry, really good against Urshifu and other dragons. And of course, Blizzard spam in general is just great against, and just in general, right? You know, not just like grass and flying types, but good coverage overall for Kyurem. And Turbo Blaze is a very, very good ability. You can take advantage of it a lot, especially against Levitate Mons. But, you know, from here, Chi-Yu comes again on this type of team. Again, you have a special attacking restricted. Might as well help it do more damage with Chi-Yu here. Thanks to Beads of Ruin. It's a Choice Scarf set this time, so you can outspeed threats and, you know, go for Snarls. If you can outspeed the Calyrex Shadow Rider manually without needing Tailwind. Heat Wave Blizzard is quite a funny combination there, right? And then the Urshifu comes yet again here. So, you know, the whole idea by adding Urshifu and Chi-Yu here is if they want to change weather on you, whether it be sunny day or rain dance, now you have the option of using your Chi-Yu and Urshifu to that advantage. Right, so what you can do is lead Ninetales Urshifu or Ninetales Chi-Yu if you know they have a Pelipper or a Tornadus with something like Sunny Day. Because if they want to change the weather on you, that might deny the Ninetales screens, but then you're just making the Chi-Yu stronger with Sunny Day and you're making the Urshifu do more damage, you know, with the Rain Dance. So, you know, even though they'll take one thing away, one thing on your side gets boosted. So, you know, and then from there you can always just reset the weather. So that was the benefit of adding both. Not just the Chi, but also the Urshifu here. Then you have the Trick Room mode with Fergraf and Ursaluna. And this Ursaluna is much slower than the other one. Again, you know, just Helping Hand Hyper Voice, Helping Hand Blizzard, Helping Hand Overheat, Helping Hand Surging Strikes. Lots of things can use Helping Hand, but not only that, Fergraf is also made to be offensive on this team. You can see that we have a Throat Spray set, so that means already we have a modest Ferrograph, you can probably guess, and we do. So sometimes you could just simply lead Ninetales Ferrograph, you know, set up the Veil, set up fake tears, go for these Hyper Voices, and then after Throat Spray, you're going for +1 Hyper Voices, and it's going to do so much damage, right? I really like this team. I think, you know, if you really wanted to use Kyurem-White, I think this is as good of a team as it'll get to use it. You know, just, it's not a super great restricted, but we have the pieces around it where at least it can be viable, especially if you want to go to like a simple local tournament just to try and have a little bit of fun and get some cool wins. All right, so let's take a look at the EV spreads for Kyurem-White. All right, so here's the paste here. So right away, a couple things to notice. The Chi-Yu is basically the same set. Modest 252, 252. You outspeed are the Urshifus that are adamant max speed. And then at the same time, you know, with the Scarf, you're able to outspeed the Calyrex. That's a given. The Urshifu Rapid Strike here, again, under the screen. Same kind of spread. Again, meant to survive the Draining Kiss stuff from a Terra Fairy Calyrex Shadow Rider. And then 236 Adamant hits the bump. And with, you know, Mystic Water and, you know, it's just going to do so much damage here. Ninetales here. So max speed Timid is what I was going for there. And then I really just put just enough defense to get it to a triple-digit stat of 100. So that's going to be pretty nice in terms of the snow calculations, especially with the Aurora Veil. And then from there, just dump the rest into HP with 1 point in special attack. And that's really all you need. The Kyurem-White here. So, you know, just enough special defense to get an even number to take advantage of the Assault Vest boost. Modest 236. Almost max, just hitting that third bump there in Modest Nature, but 100 HP, 124 defense. Again, super bulky, meant to really have good damage calcs against the Zamazenta stuff, especially if they're Impish 156. So, you know, if they already go for 1 Iron Defense, you can live a body press with screens and the snow up, you know, with the decent amount of HP remaining, and that's really what I was going for. It's also calc for the Urshifu close combat stuff. Whether you have snow or screens, either way, you're going to be totally fine. But overall, it's a super bulky Kyurem-White set. It's not going to be easy to remove, especially if you can get the Aurora Veil up. But, you know, I'll let you test it out and see for yourself. Then the Ursaluna, like we mentioned, it's, you know, very different than the other one. It's just meant to have no speed and just almost max attack there. Actually, it is max attacks, special attack by that, I mean. Quiet Nature. Again, 164 HP, just optimized for Life Orb Chip Recoil. Again, you always want to end with a 9 in your HP stat when you have Life Orb there. And then the remaining EVs just goes into Special Defense. I guess that's all there is left of it. And then the Ferrograph here, like I said, it is a modest investment of Ferrograph because we do have the Throat Spray set. Again, just like Kyurem, modest 236, hitting that bump there, 220 HP, Rillaboom, Grassy Terrain Recovery. You know, again, the opposing Rillaboom, I don't know what Rillaboom is going to be brought into a team like this when you have 2 ice types and a fire type, but hey, you never know. And then I literally just split up the remaining bulk in defense and special defense there, right? But again, it's a harder hitting Ferrograph thanks to fake tears and the Throat Spray, so take advantage and surprise the ladder with it. But yeah, all right, let's move into rental number 4. Rental number 4 is probably our most standard team as of right now in July. Again, it's just a basic Calyrex-Ice Rider Trick Room team, but it does have a Ditto, and I realized that we haven't really used Ditto in our regulationG format thus far, so I really wanted to make a team with it. I thought I wanted to do it with Miraidon, I thought I wanted to do it with the Shadow Rider, but in the end, I'd rather just use it with the Ice Rider, just because I also like Ice Rider, so it's one of my favorite restricteds besides Lunala. So here we go, Calyrex-Ice Rider with Instant Amoonguss, standard Trick Room core that you're going to have there with the Amulet, and then Instant Amoonguss, Fake Out, Redirection, Parting Shot for positional purposes. Now we also add the Iron Hands again over here with Volt Switch, which is quite nice. Iron Hands is coming to a lot of our teams, but again, it's on the rise and I like it a lot, especially against Terrapago stuff. So, you know, take advantage of it, especially with Terra Grass. Helps you get around Amoonguss. The Urshifu Single Strike comes here. We don't make too many teams with the Single Strike Urshifu. We always use the Rapid Strike. But again, another advantage of using the Single Strike again is to hit the Calyrex Shadow Rider really hard. And you may recognize this 6 already. It's the top 8 result team from, you know, Justin Burns, but he wasn't the only one using this. You know, Jody was using this. A bunch of other strong players were using this exact 6, but they had different sets there. For example, they were using Covert Cloak Terra Fairy Amoonguss, which was quite good when I was using it. But in the end, I still like the Terra Water Rocky Helmet idea with the Amoonguss. So I made that switch. But yeah, again, it was inspired from that squad. So I just simply adapted it to what I wanted to do with it. But again, Ditto functions very well on a team like this. It can change the game, especially when you can get a free restricted if you switch it in properly, and it can just win you the game, especially with Choice Scarf. You can outspeed their restricted, and from there just simply win the game just off of that. All right, so let's go ahead into the EV spreads, but it's going to be pretty basic. All right, so right away you can see the Urshifu standard Adamant 252 set with the sash there. Iron Hands, the same spread. Don't really need to change anything. The only thing we changed was adding Volt Switch here. Just for positional purposes. It's actually a good move on Iron Hands. So this way, if you do get intimidated, you can always repivot out and bring it back in later if you were able to have a chance to remove the Incineroar here. And the Incin, it's always going to be our standard Careful Nature Incin set with Careful 156 special defense, with the remaining EVs going into, defense, 76 defense EVs with a little bit of speed just to outspeed some Incineroars. Then again, a lot more Incineroars are going for, max speed Jolly Incineroars. So just be on the lookout for that, but we still like our bulky Incins. The Amoonguss, again, this EV spread is very familiar. It's what we've been using all of Regulation G. 236 HP with 236 defense. Relaxed Nature allows you to take not only a Chien-Pao Ice attack, but also a Glacial Lance from a Calyrex-Ice Rider without needing to Terra. Ditto is Choice Scarf here, so I just made it Jolly, simple as it is. The Calyrex also, I put some speed on it just to outspeed some other Ice Riders outside the Trick Room. But again, Adamant max attack is really what we're going for here. And then the remaining goes into HP there with 1 point each in the defense and special defense bulk investment. All right, as standard as it gets. So let's keep on moving. Let's go on into rental number 5. Koraidon comes in on rental number 5. And really the selling point this time around for me wanting to use Koraidon was I wanted to use Entei here. And again, Entei, just like Grimmsnarl and Iron Hands, is another Pokemon that's slowly on the rise because it has a pretty cool toolkit, especially if you can use it properly. But Entei in the Sun with the Life Orb set does a ton of damage. Sacred Fire, Life Orb in the Sun, you can imagine what that can do to a lot of Pokemon. It can just one-shot them even if it's not a super effective hit. Terra Normal, again, helps you get around the Shadow Rider, which is quite nice. Stomping Tantrum also with Life Orb and Chien-Pao. That's really good into stuff like Miraidon, so you have a good ground coverage there. And then Koraidon, standard set there with Flare Blitz, Flame Charge, and Collision Course with the Amulet. Nothing else really to be said there. Chien-Pao is going to make both of our options, and including the Chien-Pao itself, do more damage. So imagine Chien-Pao, Entei, right, on the field at the same time. You have boosted Sacred Fire, and if there was already the Sun out, then the opponent's in for it. And then at the same time, you can have Koraidon do more damage when you have Chien-Pao on the field. But Ice Spinner is quite good against Miraidon teams, and even in DD teams, just blow up their terrain with Ice Spinner. And this is a Jolly Chien-Pao, so you'll see that in a second in this pace. But, we also have some speed control on this team besides just priority moves. We have Raging Bolt and Flutter Mane here. Again, 2 Photosynthesis mods. Electro Web and Icy Wind come out there. Again, 2 speed control moves. And then at the same time, you have the Trick Room mode with Furgraph here. Same kind of Furgraph that we showed in the other team. Just something to have against the Tailwind stuff. But again, you still have E-Webs and Icy Winds as far as like the reverse route is concerned, right? But again, pretty standard Koraidon team these days. A lot of times you'll see the Ogre Pond Cornerstone on teams like this, and that's really good against like other fire types in general, and you get redirection support. But I experimented it, I liked it, but I just like this variant a little bit more right now as far as like what I like to play. But if you like Ogre Pond Cornerstone here, then feel free to make the switch. You could even take out Chien-Pao or maybe something like a Flutter Mane and fit it in, and it still works relatively well. All right, so let's go into the pace here and see how we did our EVs for this team. All right, so here's the pace here, and again, like I said, the Chien-Pao is a Jolly set here with Ice Spinner, Adamant, 252, Entei with the Life Orb. Ironic and a little bit rare in terms of, me not optimizing for Life Orb boost, but I didn't really think it was necessary. I think we just want as much damage here, especially when we have Chien-Pao in the Sun. So, I just went for that. Koraidon here, max speed Adamant. And then from there, I just hit the bump with 196 investment in the Adamant Nature, dumping the rest into HP after that. Flutter Mane here, super bulky, 228 HP, 140 defense. Normally I would put a Focus Sash here, but because the Sash is on Chien-Pao here, I decided, again, just have Booster on the Flutter Mane here, just in case we want to use it outside of the Sun. But again, Timid 132 investment. Again, just meant to outspeed other base 135s that are not Jolly or Adamant there. So this way we have the speed control in that sense. We can icy win them. The bulk there is going to be good against all Chien-Pao attacks. And you'll have strong rolls against opposing Urshifus, alright? And the Ferrograph, it's the same EV spread as the other one. The only difference is that this Ferrograph has safety goggles. So this way you can get around Amoonguss shenanigans in true. Alright, and that being said, note the Terra types here. Fluttermane, Terra Fairy, Raging Bolt is Terra Electric. Again, as much electric damage as possible. We have 3 electric moves, right? So, you know, might as well just go for that. Alright, now let's go into the last rental and get you guys out of here. The last rental here is going to be our Ho-Ho squad that we made, you know, in one of our team building videos in the month of June. Again, you know, you're not gonna like win the world championships, you know, with something like Ho-Oh here, but at least in the off season right now, you know, where there just isn't as much action as far as like regionals are concerned, I figured let's just put out a Ho-Oh team. Let's have some fun with it on ladder. It's still pretty solid and consistent in what it can do. But Ho-Oh, again, you know, with flying and fire typing, you have a good matchup into something like Koraidon and Zamazenta. Then you add the fact that you have Tailwind here, so that's going to help your Urshifu and your Chien-Pao and even your Raging Bolt, as well as yourself, outspeed the entire format here. But again, the double regenerating combination with Amoonguss is pretty standard. Then you have Ting-Lu on the field here, and that's going to be your Miraidon and your Calyrex Shadow Rider matchup, where you can go for ground moves against Miraidon, then you can click Snarl against not just Miraidon, but also the Calyrex Shadow Rider there. It's going to help also just have Ho-Oh stay on the field and not take as much damage as far as the special attack is concerned. Physically, you can make it bulky because we have coaching Urshifu with our Choice Scarf set, so you can coach the Ho-Oh, make it do more damage, make it bulky physically, and then from there, potentially, the Ho-Oh could sweep the other team if they can't break it. And you can also coach the Chien-Pao, might I add, right? So imagine +1 Ice Spinners, +1 Sucker Punches, +1 Sacred Swords. Chien-Pao also can do a ton of damage if you're able to coach it. And then at the same time, you know, Urshifu is just going to do a lot of damage in general just because of Searching Strikes in itself, right? Raging Bolt here coming again. Electro Web, again, a little bit of speed control, but again, the Assault Vest set, just making it super bulky on the field, allows a decent matchup into something like Kyogre. And then the other Urshifu Rapid Strike, right, which are both good against Ho-Oh, but having the Raging Bolt against that matchup is going to be quite good here. And then we have Chien-Pao coming again on this team, so Urshifu, Chien-Pao doing a lot of damage. Ho-Oh, Chien-Pao also going to be doing some good damage, so watch out for that combination. But Ho-Oh is a bit underrated, but again, you know, it's much better in a dual restricted format, where you can have 2 restricteds as opposed to committing your lone restricted to something like Ho-Oh. But it is playable, so, you know, have some fun with it, use it, let's see how you do, but let's show you the EV spreads. Alright, so here we go, this is it. So again, Amoonguss, same EV spreads as the other one, meant to survive the Glacial Lance from an Ice Rider. Chien-Pao also 2v2 Jolly with the Focus Sash, pretty straightforward. Urshifu, max speed Adamant with 156 attack investment. Is all we really need out of it. Again, just to outspeed the format, go for Surging Strikes, go for coaching, help the Ho-Oh, help the Chien-Pao do more damage. Raging Bolt, you know, 124 Modest is optimized for photosynthesis stuff if we ever need to, if they bring out the sun. 132 investment gets it to 112, so under Tailwind, you're able to outspeed the Shadow Rider and go for something like, you know, a Volt Switch or a Thunderclap or you know, even Electro Web for that matter. Just a little bit more speed control along with Tailwind. And then don't underestimate the fact that you can coach your own Ting-Lu and have it do more damage with Stopping Tantrum. But the Impus Nature there, that's just hitting the first bump there with 1 point extra and then literally dumping everything else with 204 HP, 108 Spadef. Again, Rillaboom Grassy Terrain Recovery, and then at the same time, you know, just having a nice solid even number there for the Spadef. 148 speed is a lot for our Ting-Lu. You might say, why are we having such a fast Ting-Lu? So this investment puts it at 84. So under Tailwind, you reach 168, and that allows you to outspeed base 100. So that can, you know, outspeed an Entei, outspeed Chi-Yu, hit them with Stomping Tantrum, hit them with a Snarl, for example, and still be okay. Because, you know, again, just having a fast Ting-Lu in general is just going to take your opponent by surprise, and take advantage of it if you can. Because I think it's quite good. All right, and then Ho-Oh here, again, 124 investment puts it, in terms of speed, puts it at 126. So this way, after an E-Webs, you're able to outspeed base 135s that are not jolly or timid nature. Again, 164 investment in the attack. 156 is the bump, but I needed an even number there for the +1 coaching boost, which is also why I have 12 defense instead of 4. Again, having that even number to take advantage of the +1 boost is quite nice. And then literally the rest just went into HP. All right, so that's our 6th rental. So let's go back into the main menu and get you guys out of here with some final thoughts. All right, folks, so those are the 6 rentals. Let us know which one you try. If you want to use them in some online tournaments like Limitless, or if you just need something to climb the ladder for the month of July, feel free to use any of them. You know, the whole point of me putting out new rentals every month is just so that you get some updated teams based on where the meta is right now. Granted, we are in a month where we're in the off season, so I put out some teams that are a little bit unorthodox, but are still very solid and consistent enough that you can get some good wins overall. But I hope you have fun with them. Let us know how you do, like I said. And if you need help building your own team, feel free to sign up for coaching on our channel. Tier 3 gets you on one-on-one session with me via Discord call, where we get to build a team from scratch together and show you how I do my EV spreads and just get you a team that you need the way you want it, you know, based on what you need it for, whether it be rank ladder, a tournament or something, or, you know, a local that you need it. We're here to help as always. So if you check the video description below, or if you check the pinned comments, there is a link to join the channel with that tier 3 sub. And then from there, you're able to message me on Discord. You can join the Discord, even though that's free. But from there, we get to plan out a session and meet and get you the team that you need for whatever purpose you need it for. All right, so that's going to do it for now, folks. Enjoy the rentals. Peace out, and have a good one.